The bright lights of the Good Morning America studio shimmered against the polished set as country superstar Carrie Underwood settled into her seat across from host Michael Strahan. Everything looked perfect. The gleaming cameras, the poised audience, the glimmer of stage charm that defined morning television. But beneath that surface, tension quietly brewed. Carrie was there to promote her new album Silver Lines, a deeply personal record she'd poured her heart into. It should have been an easy, uplifting interview, but what unfolded instead would become one of the most talked about moments in live TV history. Michael flashed his familiar smile as the camera light blinked red. "Good morning, everyone. We've got a special guest today, 7-time Grammy Award winner and country legend, Carrie Underwood." The crowd cheered, and Carrie, always graceful, waved with a polite smile. Her long blonde hair framed her face perfectly, but her eyes hinted at fatigue, maybe from the tour, or maybe from something deeper. "Carrie," Michael began, leaning forward, "your new album Silver Lines is already topping charts. You've said this one's your most personal yet. What inspired it?" Carrie smiled faintly. "Life," she said softly. "After all these years, I've learned that success doesn't mean peace. This album is about finding light when everything around you feels heavy." The audience nodded, clearly touched. For a moment, it was heartfelt, the kind of segment fans loved her for. But then Michael shifted gears. "Now, a lot of fans have been reading into the lyrics," he said with a teasing grin. "Especially that track, Cold Stage. Some say it's about your experiences in the early part of your career, maybe with a certain producer. Is there some truth to that?" Carrie's smile faltered. The question hung in the air like static. "Michael," she said slowly, "I write about emotions, not individuals. If people see themselves in the songs, that's on them." The audience laughed awkwardly, unsure if it was a joke. Michael chuckled too, trying to keep the tone light. "Of course, but fans love to connect the dots. You can't blame them for wondering who those lyrics are aimed at." Carrie leaned back slightly, her expression cooling. "I can blame them when the media encourages it," she said, her southern drawl sharpening just enough to be noticeable. "This isn't about gossip, it's about art." The crew behind the cameras shifted nervously. They could sense it, the tension thickening like fog. Michael, perhaps unaware that he was walking into a minefield, pressed on. "So you're saying none of your songs are inspired by real people?" Her jaw tightened. "I'm saying," she replied evenly, "that my songs come from my perspective. They're stories, not callouts. And honestly, I thought we'd be talking about the music, not digging for headlines." A hush fell over the studio. Even the audience, usually so quick to clap, stayed silent. Michael tried to recover. "Hey, no disrespect at all, Carrie. You know we love you here." Carrie's eyes locked on his, calm but piercing. "Then maybe show it," she said quietly. "Because the way this is going doesn't feel like love, it feels like bait." Someone off-camera motioned for a quick commercial cut, but they were live, no escape. The atmosphere was electric now, the audience leaning in as if witnessing something forbidden. Michael smiled tightly, still trying to maintain professionalism. "Come on, you know it's all in good fun." Carrie shook her head. "No, it's not. I've dealt with this kind of questioning for years, people trying to turn my work into rumors. I've worked too hard for that." Her voice was calm but firm, steady as stone. Michael raised his hands slightly, as if to diffuse the heat. Okay, fair enough. But you've got to admit, controversy keeps people talking." That was the breaking point. Carrie leaned forward, eyes blazing but voice controlled. "If controversy is the only way to get attention, then maybe you're talking to the wrong artist." Gasps rippled through the studio audience. Even Michael blinked, clearly caught off guard. He tried to laugh it off, but the moment had shifted too far. Carrie reached down, unclipped her microphone, and placed it neatly on the coffee table between them. The small click of plastic against glass was deafening. "Carrie, wait," Michael said, his tone finally softening. But she stood up, smoothing her shimmering silver dress. "No, I think we're done here," she said, turning toward the backstage exit. Her heels clicked across the floor as she strode off, the studio eerily silent except for the echo of her steps. Producers scrambled to cut to commercial, and the camera abruptly faded to black. Seconds later, Twitter and TikTok exploded. Viewers clipped the moment, replaying it from every angle. Within minutes, hashtags like #CarrieWalksOut and #Strahan Showdown were trending worldwide. Fans defended her fiercely, praising her for standing up to invasive questions. Others claimed she overreacted. Backstage, Carrie's team surrounded her, phones buzzing nonstop. "Carrie, this is going viral," her manager said. Carrie took a deep breath, her jaw still tight. "Good," she replied. "Maybe next time they'll remember who they're talking to." As she left the building, paparazzi already waited outside. But for once, Carrie didn't hide behind her shades. She looked straight into the flash of cameras, her eyes calm, her posture strong. She hadn't just walked off a talk show, she had drawn a line in the sand. And the world had just watched her do it live. The next morning, the entertainment world was still in a frenzy. Every major news outlet had splashed the same headline across their pages. Carrie Underwood kicked off Good Morning America after heated exchange with Michael Strahan. Clips of her walking off the set were replaying in endless loops, slow-motion replays of the moment she unclipped her mic, the defiant glint in her eyes, and the stunned look on Michael's face. For some, it was shocking, for others, it was thrilling. Carrie Underwood, America's country sweetheart, had just taken one of television's biggest stages and flipped the script. Her team spent the morning fielding calls from every direction, reporters wanting her side of the story, ABC executives requesting a clarification, and even rival networks offering to give her a platform to set the record straight. But Carrie wasn't interested in talking, not yet. She sat quietly in her Nashville home studio, guitar in hand, scrolling through a storm of social media posts. Some fans were furious on her behalf. "Carrie's been through enough, she doesn't owe anyone her trauma for ratings." Others criticized her walkout. "She's a public figure. Tough questions come with the job." But amid the noise, one comment stood out to her, from a fan who wrote, "Boundaries are strength, not weakness." Carrie smiled faintly. That was exactly what she believed. Meanwhile, at the Good Morning America studios, the mood was uneasy. Producers were scrambling to manage the fallout. Michael Strahan arrived early, avoiding reporters waiting outside. The executives held a closed-door meeting, discussing how to handle the situation. There were two options: downplay it, or apologize publicly. Both came with risks. When the show went live again, Michael addressed the elephant in the room, carefully. "Yesterday, we had a passionate conversation with Carrie Underwood," he said, his tone calm and measured. "She's someone I've always respected, and sometimes, live television can take unexpected turns. But we wish her nothing but the best." His co-host smiled tightly, clearly eager to move on. But the viewers weren't so forgiving. Within hours, #StandWithCarrie began trending across every major platform. Fans accused the show of crossing a line, turning what should have been a celebration of her artistry into a cheap spectacle. The debate became larger than one interview. It was now about respect, privacy, and the treatment of women in media. Other celebrities chimed in. Miranda Lambert tweeted, "Strong women don't owe explanations for their art. Proud of you, Carrie." Dolly Parton reposted a clip of the interview with a subtle but pointed caption, "Class and courage, even when the spotlight burns." That single post sent shockwaves through the industry. When Dolly speaks, everyone listens. Behind the scenes, ABC's PR team reached out to Carrie's representatives, offering to smooth things over with a joint statement. They proposed wording that suggested the moment had been misunderstood, but Carrie immediately declined. "There's nothing misunderstood about it," she told her publicist firmly. "I said what I meant. I just won't keep repeating it." Still, she knew she couldn't stay silent forever. 3 days later, she posted a single black and white photo on Instagram, her sitting cross-legged on a stool, guitar in hand, hair pulled back, eyes closed. The caption read, "When you've been in this business long enough, you learn the difference between questions and traps. I'll always choose peace over performance." The reaction was explosive. Millions of likes flooded in within hours. Fans and fellow musicians filled the comments with hearts, praise, and solidarity. Even major entertainment journalists called it a masterclass in quiet power. But Carrie wasn't finished. A few days later, she announced a surprise livestream concert from a small Nashville venue. It wasn't promoted heavily, just a simple post, no cameras, no scripts, just music. Within minutes, the stream had hundreds of thousands of viewers waiting. When she stepped on stage, dressed simply in jeans and a denim jacket, the crowd erupted in cheers. "Thanks for showing up," she said softly, strumming the first chords. "I think we've all had enough talk for a while. Let's get back to the music." Then she began to sing, "Cold Stage," the very song that had started the controversy. Her voice was haunting, raw, stripped of the studio polish, filled with emotion. The lyrics, once speculative tabloid fodder, now felt like a statement of strength. They said smile for the camera, don't show the pain, but I learned there's no spotlight worth that strain. The audience was silent, captivated. When she finished, Carrie looked straight into the camera lens. This one's for anyone who's ever been told to sit down and smile when they knew better, she said. The audience roared in applause, and thousands of comments poured into the live chat, hearts, fire emojis, messages of admiration. Even Michael Strahan was rumored to have watched the stream live from his home. According to insiders, he later told a colleague, she handled it better than any PR statement ever could. In the weeks that followed, Silver Lines soared to #1 on the charts again, this time fueled not just by her fans, but by people who respected her courage. Entertainment journalists began reframing the story, no longer calling it a meltdown or feud, but a moment of authenticity in a world obsessed with performance. Carrie didn't need to defend herself further. She had let her art, and her composure, speak louder than any headline. By the time she returned to the public spotlight fully, she wasn't just Carrie Underwood the singer anymore. She had become Carrie Underwood, the symbol of grace under fire, of boundaries drawn in public, of a woman who refused to let the noise drown out her voice. And somewhere, far away from the glare of the cameras that had once cornered her, Carrie smiled. Because for the first time in a long while, she wasn't reacting, she was in control.